All right, welcome everybody to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio right here on Ustream.tv. It is Saturday, October the 4th, 2013. We entered the last 3 months of 2013. I'm your host, Kenny C. Thank you for joining me this evening. Truly appreciate it. And especially to those who not a party goer or not necessarily, just stuck at home. And I know I get it. I understand. Stuck at home, Friday nights into the weekend could be uneventful. But I hope I can fill that void for the next hour or so. Tonight on the show, I recap Raw, main event, Impact, SmackDown, of course, my predictions for the Battleground pay-per-view. A couple more matches has been added to the new pay-per-view debuting this Sunday at Buffalo, New York. And of course, I do have an interview planned here this evening. Gonna be joined with UWF's legendary Larry D. It's been a long time coming as it pertains to me having this man on the show. I'm gonna tell y'all a little story about Larry D, if y'all don't mind. It was back in August the 11th, and I mentioned this show before. I mentioned this before. It was back on August the 11th. I think that was a Sunday. UWF show. I was in attendance. Larry D was in the main event versus Ravishing Ronnie Roberts, another former guest on the show. So I'm in the audience. I'm enjoying myself. Larry and Ronnie have a fantastic match in the main event. And after the feud that they had and the War of Words, he was teaming up with Major League Chris Majors. Of course, Ravishing Ronnie Roberts, one half of the Pretty Boys. His tag team partner name's ATM. So as they have their War of Words towards each other, Larry was and Chris was in the ring. Ronnie and ATM was outside the ring. They're yelling at each other. Larry gives me and Damien, my friend Dede, a shout out. And it's the first time I've been shout out by a wrestler in my life. That itself is pretty cool, and I truly appreciate that. For real. Um, so it's been long overdue, man. I've been wanting to interview Larry for one of the longest, and I'm happy that he's joining me this evening. He just made his return to UWF this past weekend, and he's speaking of which, he done got himself. He's now in a feud with his former tag team partner Chris Majors. He's, from my understanding, Majors cashed in his briefcase, and he's now the new world champion. And Larry's hell bent on wanting to win back the gold. So we'll talk about all that. Talk about wrestling for the UWF and other companies, and looking forward to it, man. Definitely looking forward to it. Before I get into the Raw recap, I want to say huge congrats to WWE Hall of Famer Trish Stratus. As of this past Monday, she gave birth to a baby boy alongside with her husband Juan. You saw him at the Hall of Fame, and the New York crowd gave him some boos, you know, busting his chops, I suppose. Trish Stratus that made the announcement about her pregnancy, if you will, at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony this past spring. And she said in September, which I believe September 30th, the last day of September, how ironically. So she said it was projected that the baby was coming in September. So at least it was on September nonetheless. So congrats to Trish and Juan. And I'm going to give a huge, huge shout out to former Triple Threat Wrestling Radio guest Lady Topper, who made her TNA Impact Wrestling debut yesterday doing Brooke Tessmacher and versus Velvet Sky match that ended up never happening. But it was Topper's opportunity to make an impact literally and figuratively. I'll talk more into that later on the show. So now that I got that out the way, let's go ahead and recap Monday Night Raw as we get into the last Raw stop before Battleground. CM Punk is on the mic, and he's speaking about what he plans to do to Ryback this Sunday. Gets interrupted by Brad Maddox, and he makes it clear that Punk has a match scheduled, and let's just say Biggie Langston took the initiative and said, "Hey, I'll be your opponent tonight." Biggie, the young Biggie Langston gave Punk, pushed him to the he pushed him pretty hard, and it's probably a good thing you're going up against Biggie because in some aspects he's kind of similar to Ryback, so at least he got a good idea of what to expect. But then again, they have had their rivalries in the past: Survivor Series, Hell in a Cell, and now Battleground. Be the third time in less than a year they face each other in the pay-per-view. But this had nothing to do with the WWE Championship this time around. If you recall, Night of Champions, it was Ryback that came to the rescue. And he speared CM Punk through a table. Curtis Axel was already eliminated at the time, and Ryback came to the rescue. Now, Punk goes on to handle his business, goes on to defeat Biggie Langston. And Kofi Kingston goes on to defeat Fandango, and his celebration was cut short by the Wyatt family. And typical Wyatt fashion, just subliminal, trying to be intimidating towards the brother. 3-on-1's easy to be all bravado when it's 3-1 in your favors. It's kind of like the Shield, but a bit bigger and heavier. And one of the most anticipated debuts, Los Matadores, made their debut, and I gotta say that I was impressed of Los Matadores. The entrance was sensational. El Torito, their bull, was probably the coolest bull or dressed up looking bull I ever seen. Dude looked like he could be in a circus, all that jumping on the ropes. But they handled their business against 3MB, and maybe a new tag team is exactly what WWE needs to get the tag team division more interesting again, because I feel like the tag team division kind of fell off for the moment Team Hell Knows went their separate ways. Kane is now filming See No Evil 2. Daniel Bryan, well, of course, he's been busy as of late. He engaged to Brie Bella, who's got a big match coming up herself this Sunday. And now, got a WWE title opportunity. But Los Matadores could be something refreshing, if you will. Triple H, Stephanie, with a family summit, if you will, towards the Rhodes family. Dustin, and Cody were in attendance as the McMahons presented their business deal. It's giving them one more opportunity at the Rhodes to get their jobs back. So here it is. The McMahons, as in Triple H and Stephanie, has announced that Cody Rhodes and Goldust, and if I can recall, this will be the first time that they are teaming up. They will be in tag team action in a tag team match this coming Sunday against the tag team champions and 2/3 of the Shield, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. But this is when the stipulation comes into play. The stipulation is that if the Roll brothers are unable to win this match, then they will never get another opportunity into the WWE again. Now, congrats to Cody Rhodes. He's a married man. Dustin, as in Goldust, he's pretty much been doing. He's been doing indie shows, and I read on my Facebook timeline that there was a poster of him being actually doing a show on Saturday. So he's going to do a indie show on Saturday, and then he will be headed to Buffalo for the Battleground pay-per-view. And then not only is the Rhodes opportunity at the WWE is on the line now, Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, the plumber, the son of a plumber, if you will. Dusty Rhodes' career is now on the line as well. Because if the Rhodes brothers are unable to win this match, not only will Cody and Goldust never be at the WWE again, but Cody Rhodes lose his job in the WWE all put together. That means all three Rhodes will be on the unemployment line come Monday morning if the Rhodes brothers don't win. Now, you can win by pinfall, submission, countout, or DQ. The tag team titles are not even on the line. So, Reigns and Rollins, they got nothing to lose. Their tag team titles are not on the line, and their careers are sure as hell not on the line, but the Rhodes brothers are. But it's cool to see Cody and Goldust to team up together for the first time ever in the WWE. And it very well could be the last time they're going to be teaming up. But at least to them, I think this is something that they always wanted to do. But it was just a matter of when. And now they get that opportunity this Sunday night. And Dusty Rhodes only will agree with that stipulation if he is in the corner of his sons. And Stephanie has accepted that request. So after Triple H and Stephanie leaves and headed to the back, Rhodes are getting ready to leave. Cody is already out the wing. Dusty just in the stairs. Goldust is on his way out. He turns around and gets run into a spear by Reigns, and the Shield attacked all three Rhodes, sending a message loud and clear. It's hard to believe that it's almost been a year since the Rhodes debut in the WWE. If you recall, they debuted at Survivor Series, and they haven't looked back since. Believe in the Shield. Also, there was a match here. You got R-Truth versus Curtis Axel in a non-title match. And thanks to CM Punk's and probably control of the control room, his theme song gets played. Curtis Axel gets distracted long enough for R-Truth to hit him with the lie detector and goes on to pick up the victory. And because of that win, R-Truth gets an Intercontinental title opportunity versus Curtis Axel this Sunday at Battleground. And let's see. Brie Bella goes on to defeat Alicia Fox, getting some momentum leading into her Divas Championship match opportunity against AJ Lee. Alberto Del Rio goes on to defeat Zack Ryder. And how about Heyman with a proposal to Ryback, but it wasn't the proposal that you think. You see, he proposed Ryback to be a Paul Heyman guy. And before Ryback can answer, gets interrupted by Punk, comes from the crowd, jumps and kind of landed bad landing. He trips on top of the barricade. He landed hard, and it appeared that he was hurt. But once he got close to the ring, he had a sneak attack with the use of a kendo stick. And he left, and he went after Ryback and Axel. It's pretty clear. CM Punk is hell bent on making sure he goes through Ryback, Curtis Axel, or anyone else until it's between he and Heyman. And maybe that time will come when Paul Heyman will have no other choice but to meet his maker. Maybe at Survivor Series, or dare I say, maybe at Hell in a Cell, which is a couple of weeks, I believe. But he's got to go through Ryback. So we shall see on that. Also, Ziggler and the Usos took on all three members of the Shield. The Shield goes on to pick up the victory on that one. And even though Antonio Cesaro went for the Cesaro swing, he ended up losing to Santino Marella. I swear, if Cesaro continued to do that swing, either his opponent going to throw up, either the referee's going to throw up, either a fan that's in attendance is going to throw up. Someone's going to throw up out of this. We'll see how long WWE will allow Cesaro to keep doing that swing move. Someone is going to throw up. And I'm glad it's not me because I'm watching it from TV. That's just one of those. That's probably the only wrestling move on earth that will make you want to throw up. And he and Cesaro, do not let his size fool you. He is a strong dude. He's showing that he can do that swing for 30 seconds long. And usually 10, 15 seconds is one thing. This dude can do it for 30 seconds alone. 30 to 45 seconds, I say. 35 seconds at least. Right in the middle, 35 seconds. And there was the face-to-face between Bryan and Orton. Had their final words towards each other. And then it ended up being the brawl. And Daniel Bryan was not in a good position. He gets attacked. He gets DDT'd. Brie Bella coming in, begging Orton to stop. But as a Viper, he don't listen to... He got so many voices to his head. He probably never heard a word that Brie said. So he said, you know what? I'm going to RKO your fiance right on this announcer table. And that's exactly what he did. I'm like, damn. Exactly what happened. And that will conclude the Monday Night Raw recap. Now on to the main event recap real quick. Damien Sandow goes on to defeat Santino Marella. The Wyatt goes on to defeat the Primetime Players. Curtis Axel goes on to defeat Zack Ryder. And the Real Americans defeat the Tons of Funk. That was a very quick recap of main event. So let me refresh the page here. because there was a couple more matches added to the pay-per-view. And there we go. Another match has been added to the Battleground match that was announced on SmackDown earlier tonight. So I will make my Battleground predictions later on the show. Yes, I did say on twice. But I found out as I was watching the SmackDown earlier tonight that Goldberg, and you've been hearing his name ever since Ryback came into the WWE. He's been getting hit with the Goldberg chants. I'm waiting for one time for Ryback to have something to say. And I think that opportunity should be on Wall, because Goldberg is about to release he's about to have a release of a DVD based anthology DVD, if you will, based on his career. As you know, Goldberg won his first 173 matches of his WCW career. In that frame, he won the what he won. He won the U.S. title. I believe he beat Waven for that title, and he went on to beat Hollywood Hulk Hogan for that title as well. Um, so that's interesting. Goldberg about to have his own DVD. Usually you see his highlights on the WCW DVDs, but it's interesting that he got his own DVD coming. Talk about popular demand, if you will. And the fact that and the fact that and the fact that that was just crazy. At least that's how I feel about it. Oh, and WWE. I want to get into my thoughts on this. They just started as of Monday. They started. What had happened was WWE has began its Rise Above Cancer campaign as of this past Monday. So throughout the month of October, from late September to late October, WWE has joined forces with Susie G. Coding for the second year in a row. They putting this together, and you will be seeing WWE superstars wearing some pink shirts with their logos on it. Some may be wearing the Susan G. Coding logo, if you will. I think that is awesome that WWE is reunited with Susie G. Coding for that. John Cena even got his own shirt, even though he's still recovering from injury. So that's some good stuff. You go to WWE.com and see, WWE superstars wearing pink shirts of their current shirts. I'm at the WWE website right now, and I'm trying to look for the article about the Susie G. Coding. This will be going on throughout the month. So every Sunday, throughout this month, you will see the pink rope. You will see the pink attire, some pink shirts, if you will. Oh, you know what? In addition to that, you just go to the WWE website for more info on all that. But again, great for WWE to do what they do. It's awesome stuff. It's great for them. It's great for them. I really don't have this much. I really want to get into my thoughts on Dixie Carter, how she's been handling this whole heel role that she's been playing as of late. And something interesting happened last night on Impact, but I'm gonna save my thoughts on Impact until after Larry D interview. Legendary Larry D to be exact. He's been wrestling in the bluegrass for over a decade plus. I've been seeing him wrestle from WCCW, PTW, KZW, but nowadays and I believe PTW, that's his own company, Primetime Wrestling. Um, it's in Maxonville, Kentucky. So he does that show. Um, I think once or twice every month, and definitely look forward to chatting it up with Larry. Um, and I haven't been to a UWF show in a while, so maybe Larry can get me all caught up with what's going on, and that will be awesome. I've officially began or become or begun the November interview bookings. I've already got one spot filled. Thanksgiving is next month in November, obviously, and if you've been keeping up with the show for the last 2.5+ years, you know that I don't do shows on Thanksgiving weekend. But because Survivor Series is the Sunday before Thanksgiving, I think I'm going to be doing a show either on Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday of Thanksgiving week. I haven't really made up my mind on that exactly, but I will keep you. It's probably, and it's not going to be a 2 hour show. It's probably going to be 1 hour show. So thinking long that particular day, I probably will reach out to former guests. But as for everything else, I probably will reach out to new guests. And shout out to a good friend of mine named Savage, indie pro wrestler out of North Dakota. He said he would like to do an interview again. And I think I may have him as the guest for this coming Saturday. For this coming Friday, excuse me. It looks like for the time being, I will be doing a show every Friday throughout the month of October. And I will also be, I know for sure when it comes to November, no show on Thanksgiving Thursday. But maybe, and that's the key word, maybe I'll be on the air on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm leaning towards Wednesday. But we'll definitely see as the weeks goes on. And I am Larry D. It's now 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific. Of course, you're listening to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio right here on Ustream.tv. It's October the 4th, 2013. I'm your host of the evening, Kenny C. Joining you all live. Got 30 more minutes. I got the Larry D interview coming up momentarily. I also got the Impact recap and SmackDown recap. And that was an awesome match that took place on SmackDown. So if you're in the East Coast, you've already saw it. Good for you. I guess this is kind of like a recommendation. Because I get that nobody wants to hear, especially if maybe you in the West Coast, if you will. You don't want to hear spoilers But that's how it is. And because of how social media has evolved and internet radio has, they especially internet radio on the East Coast, they be doing that dude's wrestling shows such as myself. I discuss about it. I really do. Larry D's now calling in. Let's get him on. And ladies and gentlemen, my guest at this time is an indie pro wrestler out of Georgetown, Kentucky. He's one of the top wrestlers in the blue glass. He is a former UWF heavyweight champion and tag team champion. And this man gave me a shout out on a UWF show a few months back, and it's great to have him on. I'm joined with legendary Larry D right here, right now. What's going on, Larry?
Hey man, what's going on? Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Larry. It's long overdue, man, because I know I've been interviewing a lot of UWF people for quite a while, and it's great to finally have you on. And I thank you. It's an honor to have you on, sir.
I appreciate it. It means a lot.
All right, Larry. Well, I've been a fan of yours for probably a year and a half or 2 years now, so I haven't really had a chance to see you wrestle from the beginning, and I want to get into that. Um, what made you decide to be a wrestler?
Well, it's something that I've always wanted to do. Um, they used to have the NWA, which recently has closed its doors. But it was a promotion started 40 plus years ago, and it was in Georgetown at the time when I was about 6 years old. And my dad came home from work and he saw a wrestling sign out, and so he decides to tell us that we're going to wrestling. I had no idea what wrestling was, not a clue. And we went out there, and um, man, they had like Jimmy Valiant, Doug Vines, a very young Chris Hayes, and I was terrified. Had no idea. And went the first night. First time I came out the curtain, started crying like a little baby. But I fell in love with it, and I told my mom, I said, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. You know, she'll justify that story and tell you that's the truth. And I did something I've always wanted to do, and I got the opportunity to do it, and I've been doing it now since I was 17, and I'll be 30 in January. So I've been blessed to be around for some time to be just 29 right now.
That is awesome, man. It shows longevity. It shows that for like any other wrestler to wrestle that long, and obviously injuries do come into play, but yet here you are and you're still wrestling. I mean, how does it feel to wrestle for so long? And did you ever thought that you would still be wrestling to this day?
Uh, I, I really didn't when I first got into it. Um, I didn't think I would still be wrestling as long as I did, but once I got myself around the right people in the wrestling business that actually cared about it, or and they actually put some time into it, and they cared about their craft as opposed to just going to the store and telling someone that they're a pro wrestler. You if you're a pro wrestler, you don't have to tell anyone. You live it and you love it. But it's not something that you have to brag about it, or the first 5 minutes of meeting someone new, tell them, hey, I'm a pro wrestler. You know, I do it because I love it. I don't need this. It's so cliche, I guess, to talk about you know being a pro wrestler. You know, but it's just something that I love to do, and it's something that once you get around the right group of people that can guide you and send you in the right direction. And I was fortunate to meet Chris Hayes. I was very fortunate, and I was surrounded by Donnie Green and the Steel, Alan Bear, and Justin Idol. That was a name back a few years ago. He don't wrestle anymore. And those guys really took me in. Scott Hayes. I learned a lot from the Monster Abyss, and those guys. I mean, I didn't really get to hang out with the Abyss too much, but I did get the opportunity to share a locker room for a few times and wrestle some matches with him. And you just pick up little stuff from those people, and it makes you 100 times the professional wrestler that you were prior, before ever meeting guys like that. Because wrestling's so full in this area in Kentucky. It's so full of guys that are, and I'm not cutting on anyone, but they're half trained, and they really have no idea on what's going on. Have no clue about wrestling. It's just one of those. They want to brag about it, and if you love it and you do it, it'll show in your work, it'll show in your ring presence, what kind of wrestler you are, and I hope that I've achieved that.
I definitely can understand where you're coming from as it pertains to, you know, people talk the talk, but when it comes to being in the wing and performing, they don't necessarily walk the walk. I mean,
Oh, it's like I said, I'm not cutting on anyone. It's just obvious, and my biggest advice would be to anyone wanting to get in the wrestling business, make sure it's something that you want to do, and don't get out there and make yourself look a fool, or even worse, break your neck. Get yourself properly trained, and surround yourself with a good group of people, and you should be just fine.
I want to talk about PTW, and I know you wrestled there, but from my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but ain't that your company as well as it you being the promoter, the booker for that company?
Yes, yes. Actually, it's myself and King Hustle. That's my business partner. Primetime Wrestling was a company that started 10 years ago, maybe, and I was very young. At first, my parents were the promoters, and they've since gotten out of it. But now that I've opened it back up, I've took it on myself, and now brought Daryl in as my partner, and it's just been great. It really has. We've opened it back up for about the last 2.5 years, and it just seems like it's growing more and more each month, each week. We're always doing something every day. We're always talking on the phone about what we can do to make it better, what we can do to expand the product, and I'd really like to see people who haven't been to a primetime wrestling show to come out and check one out, because I think that we're making a lot of noise on this side of the state, and you know, hopefully we can get some people there, get some people in to see what we offer. We got a lot of great talent, a lot.
I can definitely concur with that. I've been to a PTW show before. I've been to one show when y'all was at Lexington. I think one or two shows, and you was at both shows as well. And nowadays, y'all moved to a new area of Kentucky. I forgot the exact name of the city. Is it Maxonville, Kentucky?
Yeah, it's a place outside of Springfield and Willisburg. It's called Maxville, Kentucky,
Macville,
and
Kentucky. Okay.
yeah, that's where we decided to move to. Lexington just wasn't working out for some reason. I felt like we had a great venue at um, at the Four Seasons Gym, and it just, I don't know if Lexington, unless you're WWE, you know, I don't know. Lexington's always been a terrible draw for anyone that's tried to promote there. And we went out there with a bang and gave them pretty good shows. We had uh, Nick Eugene Dinsmore up there at one point, and super great guy, by the way. If you ever get a chance to see him wrestle, see him work, he's really phenomenal at what he does, and he's also a great guy to bring into any show. I would highly suggest him for any promoter or booker out there looking for someone. Um, but Lexington just wasn't working, and we went to a place called Macville, and I had no idea what it was. Dale took me out there, and we looked at the place, and I was like, "Geez, almighty!" And we're in the middle of nowhere, but we went, and the first night we were sold out. Uh, we were in the newspaper. I mean, there's never been wrestling there before, and we'll return back there on Saturday night, October the 26th. So and then we've got Stan Sierra on that show. We got myself and we got Chris Major. I mean, it's looking really good, and you know, Mcville's a really exciting town. It's a small town, like one street. So when those people come out, they just it seems like the whole town's in there, and it's just an exciting place to be.
So when exactly is the next primetime wrestling show that y'all got coming up?
The next primetime wrestling show will be next Saturday night, and that's on October the 12th. It's at the Harrodsburg National Guard Armory, and that's actually one of our bigger cards that we've got. We got a couple debuts coming in, seasoned veterans coming in. The main event will be Sexy Stan Sierra, which is the PTW champion, against Brian Beach, and that should be a really phenomenal match. And also making his debut will be Vic the Bruiser. I'm sure plenty of people around the area, around the states, know who Vic the Bruiser is, and he's going to be wrestling against Chucky Smooth. So another big card lined up, and that also starts. We're doing internet television tapings that night, and we we're starting to grow and we're starting to move forward. So hopefully we can get the word out there because we got some really great guys coming in.
Primetime wrestling coming to you a week from this Saturday. Make sure y'all check that out. Support your local pro indie wrestling shows out there. A city near you. Spread the word. Post it on, promote it on Facebook, Twitter, social media, word of mouth. Tell your friends, your families. Just spread the word out, y'all. Just help these companies out. Show them that indie pro wrestling is is up and popping, man. And that's good to hear, man. How is it to be in control of your own wrestling company compared to you just being a wrestler on other shows?
Uh, it's a lot more stressful. I will say that, but it's a new challenge. It's something that I felt like I wasn't ready for the first go round. This go round, I feel like I'm a little bit more prepared. I've had the opportunity to wrestle for what I feel like are two of the best promoters that I've ever wrestled for, and first and foremost will be Chris Hayes with the NWA. He took me in under his wing. I traveled to a lot of shows with Chris, and I kind of picked his brain a little bit on how to do things. And if anybody out there is listening that was a fan of the NWA, I kind of took PTW and kind of blended an NWA mix into it. And I mean, that's because I was part of NWA for so long. Uh, and um, we just, it's a really great show. It's a good time. Uh, it's very stressful. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, you got to get your venues booked. You got to get your guys to shows. You got to know your budget and, you know, just getting your advertisements out, making sure that your posters are getting shared online. And, you know, as far as the flip side to being a wrestler, and I can easily say with the roster that I have, I could call it any of those guys at any time and ask for anything as far as putting a poster up or helping with the ring set up, putting some chairs down, anything I can ask, I know that they would do, and that makes it a little less stressful. Um, but we're moving along, but it's very stressful. I'm glad that I have Daryl there with me. He's, you know, uh, it's not a wrestling storyline that he's my best friend. It's really true. And I would rather not have a partnership in PTW with anyone except Daryl because I mean he fully trusts my opinion. He knows that I've been around the wrestling business a lot longer than he, and he just trusts me. He trusts my judgment and listens, and I'm really fortunate to have someone like that by my side.
I can definitely understand that being in charge of your own company can definitely be a handful, but it's good to see that you got people that's willing to help you out, elevate your company, and I feel like PTW is one of the most must see indie wrestling shows in the bluegrass. I mean, I've been to one and I enjoyed it, and y'all do a great job, and I hope y'all continue success out there in PTW. Um, So on to UWF because I seen you the most on their company, and I feel like ever since you debuted there, I feel like you have elevated that company even more. It's like when Larry D is on the card, everybody is like, well, I gotta step my game up because I feel like without a doubt you're one of the top wrestlers that I've ever seen, and I've been watching indie shows for a couple of years now, and every time I see Larry D on the show, you elevate the match that you're on. You elevate that show overall, and I got a lot of respect for you, Larry. And how does it feel to be working with the UWF, especially being in Georgetown where you live?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty good. I mean, there for a while, myself in the office there had a rocky road, but fortunately, we got to hash our little issue out, and yeah, I live 3 minutes from the UWF building, literally, and my parents get to come out there